What's going on, contractors? Welcome to our webinar. My name is Dominic Caminata, owner of Greensky University, and I'm here with our special guest, Greensky, who's the dominant powerhouse in the world of financing in the home improvement industry. And representing Greensky is Metz Bizzle, who is their senior manager of sponsorship programs and an expert in terms of why contractors should offer financing, how to get the most out of your financing partner, and of course, using the power of financing to maximize your growth and profitability of your business. And Metz took the liberty of putting together a masterful presentation for today's webinar that's going to help with the discussion. And first, I just want to say, Metz, welcome to our webinar. And we appreciate you taking time to give our clients and our customers the information. How are you feeling today?
Yeah, I'm feeling really good. I'm really excited to be here. We've worked out an incredible sponsorship with you, and we're really excited to help you able to grow some of your members.
You know, Greensky is our platinum sponsor at Greensky University, and we couldn't thank you guys enough for the relationship. But I just want to ask you personally, and I hope you don't mind me asking, putting you on the spot, you know, what is it specifically about Greensky University that basically made Greensky come out and say, you know what, we want to be your official finance partner so we can work together to continue to grow and, of course, help contractors all over the country maximize their growth and profitability?
You preach exactly what we preach. We mimic each other, right? Whenever it comes to offering different types of plans to sell good, better, best, you're extremely focused on growth and maximizing profitability, right? So those are all the exact same things that we're focused on in home improvement too. We only play in home improvement. That's our bread and butter.
Yeah, I mean, I've been working with Greensky ever since I entered the industry. So every company I ever represented, Greensky was the primary finance company. And obviously for a number of reasons. Number one, your technology is so advanced and so easy to use. The level in which you approve clients for loans, and of course the size of the financing that we can get approved, it made it a very easy choice for not only my companies that I work for personally, but the clients that we can solve for all over the country. It's no accident that Greensky is the dominant force. But I kind of want to talk about you personally, Metz, because you've been with Greensky for quite some time. And I think you have a really good inside story as to why working with a company like Greensky is so important. But you had some background in this industry working with kind of a smaller startup type finance company. Do you mind sharing that with our viewers?
So I'd worked with a similar type startup company, and ultimately what happened is they started to pivot. They changed directions, got out of home improvement, got out of real estate. It was more mortgage, and then they went more mortgage based and security based, right? So it was totally different. Something that's great about Greensky, especially with this merger with Goldman Sachs, is we're not going anywhere, right? So it's a very reputable company. We've been around. This is all we do. This is all we focus on. We focused on a few other things at times, and we said, nope, home improvement's where we want to live. And I like to think about Will Smith and Hitch, and like, this is where we live, right? And so that's Greensky with home improvement. So you don't have to worry about ever getting a call that says, hey, you know, we're not going to fund your loans, or we're out of money, or anything like that. So it's nice to have that backing from Goldman Sachs.
Yeah, and you've had that personal experience, right? And that, you know, we've talked with a lot of other finance companies over the years, and to your point, there's a lot of finance companies that maybe they do like water softeners, or they do HVAC or these other type products, and then they dabble into home improvements on the side. And what happens to that contractor? They got $3 million worth of finance business on the table that needs to be installed, and all of a sudden that lender decides, you know what? Home improvement ain't working for us. We're just not quite getting it. You know, it's not our lane. We're going to pull that financing from you. And then that contractor is pretty much SOL, right? There's not a whole lot they can do, and it's the customer in the end that it gets the shaft. So I think it's very, very important. Not only do you have the backing of Goldman Sachs, but home improvement is your lane, and you are by far the dominant player. And we always say you don't apologize for having a lot of financial stability. We brag about it. So I think that's a good message for anybody looking to get a good solid finance partner, is make sure you're partnering up with somebody that is in this industry, that is here to stay, and is going to be there to take care of you. So you're not sitting there 3 years from now with millions of dollars in finance business that you can't even install anymore, right? So now I want to talk about diversifying financing, because I noticed that there's some companies, even large ones, that are very one-dimensional. Maybe they put all their business to one finance company, or maybe they only offer a couple. Why do you feel it's important for all contractors to look into diversifying their financing partners, not necessarily having just one company that does all their business?
I think whenever you have a lot of different lenders out and that are in one category, when I say one category, I'm talking, prime, subprime, that sort of thing, right? Because the credit spectrums are all over the board. GreenSky's a prime lender, and we're built for speed in the home, and we're built to be used as a first look option and for the majority of your customers, right? I think it's good to have one lender that you use for prime, and then maybe have a secondary option whenever it comes to subprime, whoever that may be, right? But whenever it comes to prime lending, GreenSky is going to be the most simple process for you to use, and sales reps have to know a lot of different things, right? Making them become HVACs of their or experts of HVAC and siding and windows and all these different types of products, right? So becoming an expert of financing can be difficult, especially whenever you have lots of different partners out there that you work, lots of different lenders that you're working with.
Yeah, it's crazy how important financing is. I just find some of my best salespeople I ever trained were experts at selling financing. And I explained it to the point is when you're at the negotiating table of John and Mary Smith and you're talking financing, you're putting on your finance advisor hat on. You're not a salesperson anymore. And you're going to guide them through that decision-making process on how to make this affordable and fit into their budget. Because honestly, this is a very intimate conversation, very personal conversation we're having with these homeowners. And if you don't have the confidence in the education and know how to behave when you're talking financing, you're going to get steamrolled more often than not at the negotiating table. So I usually spent 3 or 4 days out of my training just on selling financing, processing financing, and using financing as a boomerang to the sale. It's such an important and valuable skill set to have. And for me, I can't wrap my head around contractors that don't offer financing. We'll talk some more about that. But I look at financing not just as an option for your business, but a necessity for your business. I'm sure you feel the same way, right?
Yeah, so we've built our rate sheet, and I'm excited to get into it and start talking about it here soon. But we've built our rate sheet for all sorts of different types of buyers in the market, right? So whenever I say use one lender, it doesn't mean use one plan. You can use it to sell on different types of plans and make it more affordable for increased ticket size and to increase your close rates.
GreenSky, the menu that they put together for our Gross University clients is unlike anything I've ever seen. And aside from that, I think there's like over 100 different plans on there, but you're willing to work with contractors. If there's any finance plan they may have with another lender or any specific terms, maybe even combining financing offers, you guys sit down and you work with those contractors to put together a menu just for them and something to give their sales team the tools they need to close more deals more often, right?
Yeah, we have client growth managers that each of your contractors will be able to get, and it's your dedicated person that you can pick up the phone, call, they answer. They can lead quarterly business reviews with you. They can give all sorts of insight into your business that you probably didn't even know that you could get from a lender, but it provides really good tools, especially for the sales managers that want to help coach their reps up. Well, I'll start off here with a nice introduction. So my name is Metz. I'm senior manager of sponsorship programs. A little high level, what we're going to speak about today is who's GreenSky, what we do, why we do it, what the contractor experience looks like, some objections that you actually might get in the home and some resistances that you might have, some exact benefits of Grosso, and also what support looks like and what it actually looks like whenever you do become a GreenSky merchant. So a little bit about GreenSky. We recently did get acquired by Goldman Sachs, so we are a Goldman Sachs company. This is a subsidiary. And like I said, this is what we do. Home improvement is what we do. We've satisfied over 3 million customers. We funded over $27 billion in loans. It's what we do. And I'm not showing these to brag, but I'm showing these because some of the stats and some of the numbers that we're going to talk about later are not based on a small sample size. It's based on millions of consumers and buying behavior. How do we get to be so big? Well, this is why, because people need payment options. They need it. 57% of homeowners have less than $1,000 in their savings account. Only 39% of homeowners can afford a $1,000 household expense. 75% of projects over $2,500 are financed. That's not limited to home improvement, but it is a stat for whenever ticket sizes do get up, they start to become financed.
Less than 50% of America in 2017 could afford a $500 debt. Now that's $500. So, which means anything $500 or more, they'd have to finance it, right? So now, what is that today? So there's actually a lot of studies going on, a lot of research coming out, but you look at our national debt, for example, right? Our national debt actually is resembling about $150,000 of debt per person or per single family home in this country. $150,000 per single family home. And when you take the cumulative savings of our whole country, it's negative 1%. Negative 1%, the cumulative savings of all the people in our country. So for me, this is why financing is not an option, because even before the pandemic, even before all the inflation going on, it's not something that we can ignore anymore. It's out there. Go fill up your gas tank once and tell me how that feels, right? I mean, it's absolutely unreal. People are having to work 2 or 3 jobs just to make ends meet. So the last thing they have the means to do is to spend $5, $10, $15, $20,000 on a home improvement project that in many cases is a need and not a want. They need to have it done. So how do they do it? So again, you're going to be able to capture a market and a much wider net of customers by offering financing that normally you would never even be able to talk to.
And if you're somebody that doesn't believe in financing things, great. You can't ignore these stats. These are real stats. These are real figures, and this is data that you need to run your business.
Yeah, and you look at home improvements, right? Some of these homeowners, it's not that they want to have the work done. You know, there's a lot of products that are want. Don't get me wrong. They want to get a new bathroom. They want a beautiful kitchen. But if my roof is caving in and leaking, and I don't have the money, what are my options? Either I allow my house to get destroyed every single time it rains, or I work with a contractor that has flexible terms and can make it affordable. That's it. So again, affordability is everything. And the great thing about financing, and this is what I train my salespeople on, when you are good at selling financing and building value in your products and services, you no longer have to be concerned with price. You don't have to sell on price anymore. You're not concerned about winning a bidding war with Chuck in a Truck. We're selling on affordability and fitting into a budget on flexible terms. And we'll talk more about that, but it gives you so much more leverage at the negotiating table with your client.
Hey, we want to do great quality work, and we want to make it fit your budget as well, right? That's the great sales pitch, right? And so people think payment options of cash and credit card, but it's really not, because whenever you offer payment options, it'll actually double the ticket size. Here you can see the average spend with a credit card is $3,300 per home improvement project.
Yeah, we talk to our clients just like this, right? Because people finance cars, they finance a lot of things that depreciate in value. You know, automobiles, the moment you drive it off the lot, you lose about 20%. And they finance that because a lot of times they need a car to take them from A to B and they don't have the cash. Now, with home improvements, I always talk to homeowners. I say, now, in the last 10 years, is it safe to assume that the value of your house has increased? And they're like, yes. Okay. Now, is it safe to assume then that everything that's in your house that's in really good condition, or even better, that's like new, has also appreciated in value? Is that safe to assume? Now, we can actually look and see that that customer's house has appreciated in value 5-10% per year in some cases, depending on the territory, the market, the city they live in. And when you factor that appreciation in value to their investment, whether it's a new shower, a new bath, new windows, new roof, if you're a contractor that really preaches lifetime warranty or 50-year warranty, you can calculate, show the homeowner that you're financing an appreciating value or an appreciating asset that's going to pay for itself and make you money. It's going to actually pay for itself. So if there's anything that makes sense to take a loan out on, especially if you can get interest free or whatever it is, you can see that a home improvement product like this makes all the sense in the world. It's an investment.
100%. It's becoming the norm. It's already the norm in several industries. I don't even know if you can buy your phone outright anymore. You have to attach it to your bill. Jewelry, cars, you name it. The first thing they want to do whenever you get to a car lot is they can put you in any car lot, any car on that lot, as long as it fits your monthly payment, right? So,
well, that makes sense, right? So you look at this. It's not uncommon for people to have a $200 a month cell phone bill, right? I always talk about that. And actually, this is stuff we talk about with our clients at the negotiating table. People don't blink an eye about a $200 a month cell phone bill. Now, how long do you hold on to your cell phone before you replace it? It's like every year you're getting a new phone, right? Now, if you add that up in 10 years, let's compare that to like a 10-year monthly investment program through Green Sky. That's $24,000 you're spending on that phone. Now, how many homeowners will walk into Verizon or AT&T or any cellular store and see $24,000 next to the iPhone, not iPhone 12 or whatever's out on the market these days? How many people would buy it? Be like, heck no, I'm not paying $24,000. How many of those salespeople at those stores tell you that number? They don't. And you're not even concerned about it. We're not even thinking about it. And you can do the same type of thing with home improvements is we're not concerned about the price or the total amount they're spending. And don't get me wrong, you build enough value in your product or service, the total investment, you don't have to, it's not like you have to hide it. But more homeowners today, more than ever before, are concerned, can I afford it at a monthly investment term and does it fit into my budget? And especially with some products where you can demonstrate payback or return on the investment, it makes it super easy to be very assumptive with the financing. And one line I loved using in the house is, Mets, our financing is so rock solid right now and so appealing that even our cash buyers are taking advantage of it because it's literally a no-brainer. And we would say that to the homeowner in the house to plant the seed that, yeah, everybody's financing.
Yeah, dropping breadcrumbs throughout the entire sales process is huge because oftentimes customers don't know that you're offering payment options, right? Here's a nice photo of an iceberg, and you might have some customers that ask about it and whatnot. If you don't position it, this is what it will look like. If you don't position it in the home, you're going to have a couple customers that are asking about it because they desperately need it. It's their last ditch Hail Mary. Whenever you drop breadcrumbs throughout the sale, have your appointment setters, call and say, hey, make sure you ask about our great financing options. Whenever you get out there, say, hey, we did a house down the street like this. It was like 12 months, no interest. They didn't have to pay anything. It was great. I'll be right back. I'm gonna go take a look at the house.
I love that.
You drop those little breadcrumbs and you're like, I was expecting to hear 20 grand today. This guy said, no problem. We did this. We got him approved in like a minute. It was like $150 a month. It didn't even have a prepayment penalty. It was great. I'll be right back. It's great. And dropping those little breadcrumbs really does help because if you don't bring it up, it'll look just like this iceberg. You'll have a lot of customers below, and this is what those customers look like, right? There's two really different buyers out there in the market. One is a promotional type buyer. There's someone that resembles the cash type buyer, right?
Yeah.
If you want to know which one you are, ask yourself what you think a Toyota Camry costs. Somebody might say 25 grand. That's probably going to be the promotional type buyer. You understand the time value of money. You know that if you put some brand new windows on your house, the equity of your home could go up. You spend 20 grand in windows, it goes up 40 grand in equity, right? You can use a 12-month no interest, no payment loan to sell the home and get windows on your house, and then whenever you sell the house, boom, you actually made 20 grand, right? And you didn't have to come out of pocket for that.
Yep.
That's someone that feels like they want to get something for nothing, right? They want to feel like they're getting a nice deal. It's probably the cash buyer that's been haggling you over price.
Yep.
But whenever you're able to offer them, 12 months where they don't have to pay a single thing, that becomes attractive. The other buyer would say that Toyota Camry costs $250 a month, $150 a month, whatever it may be, right? And that's the promotional buyer, or I'm sorry, that's the monthly payment buyer. And that buyer doesn't necessarily care as much about the APR. They don't care as much about the overall price. They care, does this fit my budget? I know how much I make per month. I know how much I want to save per month, and I know how much I can spend per month. I'm running a cash flow household here.
That's why, I'm always cautious when salespeople are in the discovery phase of the sales encounter and they're talking about the budget and what the customer can afford or how they're going to handle the investment. And early on, occasionally a customer will say, I'm just going to pay cash. And then a lot of salespeople stick their foot in their mouth because right away they start talking about cash discounts and all these other things going on. When in reality, the customer thinks they can get a house full of windows for like $3 grand. And then they're like, yeah, I'll just pay cash because it's only going to be like $3 grand, at least in their mind. That's what their price condition at. And then by the end, you lay down a total investment of 20 grand and they can't pay cash anymore, but you stuck your foot in your mouth by talking about cash discounts too early versus understanding that even if they think cash, more often than not, those people are going to be your monthly payment buyers, your monthly investment type client. So I always just assume everybody was going to finance, and my thought process was, you can tell me how you feel about this, the customer is actually going to have to work hard to convince me that they are not a finance buyer. They're actually going to have to work hard to persuade me that they are, in fact, a true cash buyer.
Right. Yeah. Nobody likes to see a big, five-figure check leave your account, right? That's painful.
Yeah, exactly. I don't care. Let's say hypothetically they do have 20 grand laying around or 30 grand or whatever it is. It's still painful, right? It's still a lot more impactful, and it's not as easy to swallow as doing it for $200, $300 a month on a monthly investment program.
Yeah. And ultimately, you don't know what type of buyer that is. Whenever you walk in the home, you have no idea what you're walking into.
Nope.
You have no idea what discussions they've had. If it's a couple, you have no idea what discussions they've had as a family. And so that's why we built out our rate sheet to target those two types of buyers.
Yep.
And it's important that you offer both types of plans while in the home. Here you can see we have for our cash buyers, we have no interest plans, zero interest, equal payment plans. And for our payment buyers, we have low reduced single digit reduced APR plans. They make it very easy to sell off of good, better, best. So that's how we built our program. That's how we've grown to be as large as we are. That's just the program and loan piece of it, not necessarily the process side.
Yeah, and this is important to talk about, right? So let's say I've done a master presentation, I slid over the total investment, right? And I'm going over now, if and when you were to move forward with this project, how would you handle it? Is it something you do as a cash investment, simply write a check for? Or like most of our customers, is it something you'd handle as a monthly investment or a budget plan? And I always say it that way, like most of our customers. Sometimes they'll say, Dominic, we'll just pay cash. Now, believe it or not, that doesn't always mean they have the money right now. Sometimes that means they're going to be going to their bank or credit union from a third-party resource and taking out a second mortgage or a home equity loan or whatever that is. I need to make sure that I clarify what they mean by cash. So one thing I train my salespeople to do is, great, John and Mary, sounds like you have a good relationship with your bank. I know there's a lot of good programs out there. Let me ask you a question though. When you say cash, are these funds you have readily available you can write a check for right now? Or is this some part or whole you'd be getting from a third party, such as your local bank or credit union? Now, occasionally they'll be like, well, Dominic, yeah, we're going to look at getting a home equity loan. And this is why it's important you have your finance advisor hat on, because for me personally and my salespeople, it was always very easy for us to differentiate an unsecured loan and the benefits of a signature type loan versus a secure loan through their bank. I always share this with my customers. I said, John and Mary, one thing my dad always told me, if you owe $1 to the bank, you don't own anything because they can always take it from you, right? But I would want to revert them to my financing because I can't sell the job right now if I'm waiting 4 or 5 weeks for them to go to their bank and get a HELOC, right? So I say, great, John and Mary. I tell you what a lot of our customers do in this situation is they like to compare our rates and plans with their local bank or credit union and see which one comes in best. So since I'm here anyway, let me just present you with a few of our most popular options. Just let me know if any of them work for you. Fair enough? And it was a super great transition. Now I went from this guy's a cash buyer to really they're going to the bank to now they're looking into our financing. And when you get really good at differentiating the features and benefits of these signature loans, these unsecured loans, obviously guaranteed, stated income, it's not jumping through all the hoops that you have to jump through at the bank. A lot of times you can influence those people just to go ahead and pounce on your financing offer.
And you mentioned it right then. You have to wait. Not only do you have to wait, once they get that check from their credit union or bank, they can spend it wherever they like. And that means they can spend it with anybody else that's walked into their house and given them a bid, or they can go out and buy a boat, car. You have no idea. They have full control over those funds, right? With Greensky, it's a little bit different. So whenever they're in the home, it's very simple and easy. They don't have to submit any sort of pay stubs, mortgage statements. You don't have to send any work orders or sales contracts. It's totally paperless to submit applications and totally paperless to get funded. And not only that, once they get approved for a loan with you through Greensky, they can only spend that money with you.
What you've done, and we'll talk about this, but what Greensky has done to make it so flippin' easy to process an application literally within a couple minutes of closing that sale, the financing is approved and everything's hunky-dory. It just makes it so simple for the homeowner to move forward. And that's one line I always like to share with the customer when I'm actually in the house is let me show you how easy it is to get the shower of your dreams or the kitchen of your dreams or whatever it is. How easy it is to move forward. homeowners are far more inclined to pounce on something that's pain-free, that's super simple, that's affordable, that can, be done in 2 seconds. The last thing we want to do as salespeople after doing a 2.5, 3 hour presentation is spend another hour and a half processing the financing and the paperwork and all the headaches that can coincide with all that stuff.
Yeah, no, that 100%. And we've actually built out some pretty great stuff for Grasso, where it can be performed at any location. We don't care where it's performed. Anyone can apply, right? You don't have to be the homeowner. That includes mobile homes. It includes anyone can be a co-applicant, right?
So I wanted to talk about that because I know there's many finance companies that won't even talk to you if it's like a land contract situation, a rent to own, or a mobile home. They won't even, if they find out you're looking to do work in a mobile home, immediately they're going to run for the hills. So I guess, would you say it's because GreenSky specializes in only home improvement and it has the bandwidth they do, that's why you're able to approve those deals where other lenders cannot?
Yeah, we're an unsecured installment loan. So that gives us a lot of flexibility.
And also, a lot of situations arise where you're with John and Mary homeowner and they simply don't have the credit, but maybe they have a cosigner, right? Maybe they have grandma or Grandpa Joe that's willing to cosign on the loan to make it happen. And with other lenders, that wouldn't even be a possibility. However, you're saying with GreenSky, technically they do not have to be the homeowner to go ahead and put their name on that application.
That's right. We take cosigners as well.
Yeah, so that's huge. I mean, that's a huge percentage of your business, because if you're a contractor watching this webinar, if you can reflect back on all of your financial rejects, credit declines, whatever you want to call it, and if you're able to obtain a cosigner for all of those, or let's even say 5 to 10% of those, how much is that adding to your bottom line? And I hope that you're training your salespeople, if you have a finance partner like GreenSky, in the event that it is a credit decline, that they're always 100% of the time making an attempt to get a cosigner before packing it up and throwing in the towel. So you miss 100% of shots you don't take. We had a ton of success with that.
Yeah, we suggest putting cosigners on every application if you can. That's what leads to high approval rates. We're actually able to approve. We're built to approve 85% of homeowners throughout the country, approximately. But ultimately, the contractor is going to control their own approval rate. And what I mean by that is if they go in the home and they say, well, it's $10,000, but or you can finance it, that's a lot different. And that's going to attract the customers that are in that top tip of that iceberg, right? Because whenever you walk in, you say something like that, it's almost like saying, hey, you can put it on layaway at Walmart. And then even if they wanted to finance it, they might say, oh, no, I might be embarrassed by it. It's the bad word. When you think financing, you don't think no interest, no payment, unsecured installment loans where it can be performed at any location and there's no documentation back and forth. You don't think that. You think high interest rate, you think expensive, you think documentation. So whenever you go in and you drop those breadcrumbs like we talked about earlier, that's when you're going to see a higher approval rate. And I'll show you what the application and what the mobile app actually looks like. So up here on the screen, you can see that it's really simple. There's just a couple links. You have you can submit a new application here on the top left. You can review applications there on the right. There's a payment estimator that you can actually almost act as a proposal tool. Yep. And then if a customer is balking and saying, I don't want a hard hit on my inquiry or hard hit on my credit before I know if I'm going to get approved or not, we actually built a soft check too. So that actually gets rid of that objection too. So let's just see. No harm, no foul. Let's see what you would qualify for. And then it starts to think, oh, I can afford this. I did get approved. Not only do I think I can afford it myself, but the bank thinks so as well. So it starts to ease into that conversation of this is affordable.
Yeah, that payment estimator is an incredible tool when you're going through financial terms. I literally see contractors today, believe it or not, that are still like writing down monthly investments on the back of a napkin, and that's how they're negotiating with their clients. Whereas with GreenSky's app and the payment estimator, you literally, if you're a contractor, you can design whatever menu you want for your sales team. So your sales team only sees the finance plans that you unlock, so to speak. So if there's finance plans you don't want them selling anymore, like 5 years interest free because it's expensive, you can restrict what they can see. But what it does is you can take the total investment for the project, and the sales rep can pick the 3 or 4 plans they want the homeowner to see. And presenting financial terms using that payment estimator on your computer or iPad is so much more official, so much more professional. And I thought it was an incredible way to assume the sale.
It gives you a lot of control of the sales cycle. It takes the assumptive sale from a yes or a no to a which one, which option would you like?
And it's super simple. They just have to go like this, and they hit the apply now, and boom, you're right into the application. You're scanning their driver's license, and within a few minutes, you have the entire financing process complete.
And here you can see what it looks like for those that would like a visual. It's very simple. And you can also see something that's great is you can see the project scope size and the monthly payment next to it too. And this is exactly what we were talking about of upselling, right? If you can get somebody to agree to $156 a month, well, great, I'm running a special today. I can actually get brand new gutters all around your house. You never have to have a leaf problem ever again. It's only $2 a month.
Yeah, one strategy we would use as well is if we can get the homeowner to commit to $150 a month. Let's say that it's $150 a month on a 60-month loan. What we would do is sometimes double the size of the project. So for example, let's do 2 baths instead of 1, and we would extend the term of the loan now to 120 months instead of 60 months. So the payment would be virtually the same or close to it. And they're like, wait, I can get both baths done for the same monthly investment? You know, it's like, it's crazy when you really know how to work the financing and modify the terms. You rarely have to discount much at all because you're just simply making it more comfortable and giving the perception of value using the financing as the boomerang to the sale.
I often hear contractors say, none of my contractors finance, they're all high end. They all have Mercedes in the driveways and very expensive homes. Well, I just saw where Mark Wahlberg's monthly mortgage is like $600,000 a month, and because he put down the bare minimum, right? And then 98% of Mercedes Benz are financed.
I know a lot of very wealthy people. I'm talking multi millionaires. They go to a car dealership and they'll finance a $20,000 vehicle just because, you know, they'd rather keep that 20 grand or invest that in the stock market or invest it in something else that gives them a return. Whereas, you know, if they have the financing, especially if it's interest free, why not? It's a no-brainer.
Try advertising a no interest, no payment, no money down, and see if that doesn't pick up the phones for you. What's great about that is just because there's no money down doesn't mean that the contractor won't get money down through Greensky. Because we actually allow all the way up to 50% upfront funding. So that should fall pretty in line with what some folks take with just cash customers too.
Yeah, and we know that there's obviously a vast difference between marketing and sales. So even if that gets the phone to ring, gets you in the door, more often than not, the salesperson is still able to get some skin in the game. And, you know, I always sold it as a benefit for the homeowner, right?
Here we're looking at, so we mentioned earlier what types of lenders that you should have, you know, set up with. We recommend a prime lender such as Greensky. And then what we've done is we've actually built in a second look lender. If you choose to opt in, it is an opt-in feature, but it would waterfall down to foundation financing, which is a second look or subprime lender. So whenever you're in the home, you submit an application through Greensky. We already have a high approval rate, but for those that aren't able to get approved, it could waterfall down to foundation. They can pick up some of those declines for you.
Right. So I'm not starting over from scratch, filling out 2 separate applications, right?
No, not from scratch. No.
That's awesome. And what is the max approval on Greensky? I know depending on, you know, the program that they're offering or whatever, but what is the max approval without stipulations?
Yeah, so max approval right off the bat, unsecured loan, couple minutes, up to $100,000. It sounds kind of wild, but $100,000 unsecured loan that can be performed anywhere.
Yeah, without even proof of income, right? Just, you know, you do the application, signature loan, stated income. And then if a contractor, you know, like Matrix Home Solutions, my partner here at Gross University, they occasionally have a basement that may be 120, 130 grand. So if someone needs a loan that big, is there any other option there if they have proof of income where you may bump that even more?
We could bump it even more. What they should do is I would suggest them to work with their client growth manager. At that point, we would require proof of income in the form of tax returns or some sort of proof of income from the consumer, but they can work with their dedicated client growth manager. which is a huge feature of GreenSky. I don't think we've talked about that enough.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you about that because this is not something that a lot of finance companies offer. What are some of the things that the client growth manager provides in terms of service to that contractor?
Exactly that. If you need to get a quick credit limit increase that's over $100,000, call your client growth manager. If you have any sort of questions or any problems in the home, you can call your client growth manager. If you want to have strategic calls and have automated reports of, which of my sales reps are submitting the highest tickets and which are comfortable submitting no interest plans and which are comfortable talking about reduced rate plans, it gives you a lot of insight, and your client growth manager can help set all of that up for you. They're really your dedicated person to help you grow.
And with Goldman Sachs backing you guys, I know that adds a whole different level of financial stability and credibility, and what GreenSky is looking to accomplish in this industry with the new innovations and the technology. And that's one thing we've always been impressed with GreenSky is it seems like your portals and your paperless applications and all these things, you've always been the leader in technology. And you're investing in research and development, new and innovative ways to give the contractors tools to succeed every single quarter, every single day, and to have that customer support to stand behind them. I mean, like you said, it is a partnership. It really is. And maximizing the power of financing to grow your business. And then getting the Grosso training so we can train your salespeople to get to be sales warriors and learn and master the art form of selling financing in the home. It's truly a win-win.
So as you can see here on the screen, this is what it would look like after a merchant training. So this is some real merchants. This is a group of merchants. And you can see that a prime example is going from a 12-month no interest, no payment to an 18-month no interest, no payment, actually raised the ticket size by over $6,000, right? So having those types of trainings, staying top of mind for your sales reps, that's what Grosso's here to do. That's what GreenSky's here to do as well. And there's going to be some resistance to it. It's becoming the norm. I wouldn't say we are the norm across the entire country with every contractor yet, obviously, right? Yep. But it's becoming the norm with consumers. So there is a little bit of hesitation to offering. I have some here on the screen. One of the myths is offering financing could be insulting. We kind of talked about that earlier. It's actually not insulting. It's actually appreciated. Hey, thank you for having this option available. I couldn't have gotten this done if you didn't have it. I am super excited. And I'm going to go share that I was able to keep my money in my pocket, or I didn't have money for this expense, right? I'm going to go share that in my excitement with my friends. That might lead to referrals, right?
Right. And like I told you, I mean, it gives them that peace of mind that contractor is going to deliver on their promises, and it takes all the risk off of their lap. Because unless the contractor comes out and delivers on everything that they're promising and satisfaction is achieved, the contractor is not going to be able to fund that job too well. So the customer has that feeling that they maintain the leverage in terms of the finished product, the outcome. Not like one of these situations where they give them half their money up front and then the contractor never shows up.
A couple more here. Financing can reduce margins and commissions. We talked about that too. We're going to help build that in the cost. And some of these plans actually don't even cost anything to offer.
Well, I would argue it's the opposite, right? So are you going to make more commission if your sale is twice as big and you're able to capture a lot bigger market and close more?
No, you just hit on number two. I do fine with someone without payment options, right? Well, I imagine so, but are you maximizing the sale, right? Your close rate will go up. It's very expensive for somebody to say no to you because you spend a lot of money in marketing. You have a lot of different overhead costs too. So
yeah, we always say good is the enemy of greatness, right? And if better's possible, is good enough?
Yeah, something that as a consumer, I've had folks come in my home, and I just got some new shutters put in, right? And I actually think it's insulting whenever somebody will drop price to me, because in the back of my head, I'm thinking, well, if you could have done that initially and still been profitable, why didn't you do that? Are you just trying to wiggle me for more money? Like, you know what I mean? So to me, it could almost come off as insulting as well.
A lot of salespeople in this industry are pretty good at closing, but the big trend I'm seeing is most salespeople suck at negotiating. They're not good at negotiating, and here's what I mean. a lot of salespeople have the false notion or myth or belief that when I'm negotiating with John and Mary homeowner on the price, it has to be a win-win, meaning that I need to win a deal for my team and the customer needs to win by giving them the best price I can give them and the most expensive finance plan I can give them. So what I train into my salespeople is when you're talking about negotiating, and believe me, your clients are not going to objection school or negotiating class, so you always have the upper hand. Your number one mission in life when you're at the negotiating table is to turn in the most profitable sale you can for yourself, your company, and your team. Period. End of story. Because you have to believe in your product and your company to the fact that even if they buy it retail, let's say I lay down my retail price at 20 grand for my roof or whatever it is. If the customer buys at retail, they win because they're still getting the best product from the best company with the best service. We're going to treat them like royalty. They're not going to make the mistake of buying a roof from Chuck in a truck who doesn't give a flying darn and have the project in shambles. They're going to get the VIP treatment, right? So they win at retail. If you discount 10%, they win. If you discount 20%, they win. So no matter where they buy on your price spectrum, knowing that they win, the last thing you should be concerned about is selling on discounts and price drops. The way I explained it is your customer should be 99% ready to pull the trigger after you do the masterful presentation, because the close should feel like the natural conclusion. The only reason you offer a discount at all is to give them an incentive to pull the trigger now on a project that they already intend on doing anyway. So they already intend on hiring you and getting your product installed in the near future. So why not just give them a small incentive to go ahead and move forward now? So we spend 2.5, 3 hours building all this value in our product and our service and all this value in our price, right? And then within 2 seconds of the price being on the table, we're throwing out all these discounts. And to your point there, Mets, you lose credibility, you're devaluing your product and your service, and you're devaluing the quality of your company, right? If your company's worth the money, then don't apologize for your price, brag about it, and use financing as a boomerang to the sale to make the close the easy, natural conclusion. So there's my rant for you.
Oh, no, more, please. That was good. A lot of good information in there.
Yeah.
Thank you. Well, you crushed the first one. I'll take the second one. I don't know much about financing. That's okay, because Dominic obviously does. We do. So
yeah, exactly. That's easy. We'll take care of that.
With Grosso and Greensky now having our exclusive partnership together, they're going to be able to help educate you as long as we are as well.
Yeah, and we got boatloads of training. Even if you go on an online training platform right now, I probably got 30 hours of training just on selling financing on our platform right now as we speak. So yeah, there's plenty where that comes from because we know how important that is. And again, I do our sales academy. We train salespeople every month for companies all over the country. And in our sales academy, in that 2-week training, we're spending a good 2 or 3 days in that virtual training just on financing and going through financial terms using Greensky as the boomerang to the sale.
Last two that we have for some myths or hesitations from the contractor before we move into the consumers are we kind of touched on them a little bit, but I have high-end customers, well-off customers. We talked about that with the Mercedes-Benz. 98% of them are financed, right?
Right, and we live in a different world. You know, obviously we see the value of the dollar is not what it used to be. People, it takes more of those dollars, that paper money, to get what they used to. And that's not going to go anywhere. And again, not that people need to know this, but in the last 12 months, they've printed 40% of all the currency that's ever been printed in this country. In the last 12 months, 40%. So what is that doing to the value of the dollar? It's not going to all of a sudden miraculously go back to normal anytime soon. So what they used to do, if that used to be the case where that Mercedes customer didn't finance, you're going to find more people, even that Mercedes customer, is going to have to finance. It's not going to be an option, especially for something that they need, not necessarily want, right?
Right. And all my customers pay cash. That's an easy one as well. Keep taking the cash. Keep doing it. Offer them this and let us focus on the ones that are saying no to you, right? If you have cash customers, great, awesome. Let's use financing to help close the ones that aren't.
Yeah, and you're going to get in front of a huge group of people that normally wouldn't even talk to you. And, you know, those customers that don't pay cash, you would not believe they still want the finer things in life. Just because they can't pay cash for them doesn't mean they don't want to get that stuff done, right? But yeah, for me personally, I mean, I'd say that, you know, I make a decent amount of money in my career. I have some money saved up. If someone came and sold me a $20,000, $30,000 project, I could pay cash for it. It's something I'm really proud of. But I'd much rather finance. I'd rather keep that money or invest it in something else. You know, maybe I'm going to invest it in land or precious metals or something tangible that gives me a big return. But for a roof, the last thing I want to do, or for windows or something like that that's like a need, is take all that cash I've been saving up and invest it in something when I can just take out a flexible budget plan to make it happen. So to me, even, you know, I could have all the money on planet Earth, but financing is so darn appealing because, again, I can keep control of that liquid cash that I have saved up.
We have a couple more that some fears myths from the consumers here. You mentioned this earlier. I'd love to get your thoughts on it. I'm going to get a loan through my bank or refi my house.
I take the homeowner through a very big education on what a lot of these loans are, or especially like a home equity loan, because a lot of these homeowners don't understand that they're variable interest, right? So if you look at a lot of the fine print on these home equity loans, and I actually explained this to my customer, and I explained it as a personal story. See, John and Mary, about 5 years ago, we got some concrete work done at our house, and it was almost impossible to find a concrete company that offered financing. So I was forced to use a home equity loan. Well, at the time, my bank had this promotion. It was 1.9% for 6 months. I'm like, oh, that's pretty cool. Well, it never occurred to me, though, that whether or not you use that money in that 6 months, the promotion goes away, it vanishes, and then it jumps up to whatever the prime rate is. Now, we know that rates are starting to climb now, and I don't know about you, John and Mary, but I don't have the slightest idea what interest rates are going to be in the next 12 months, right? It could be, you know, 6, 7, 12% for all we know. But it jumps up to whatever the prime rate is. Now, if you look at the fine print of these home equity loans, John and Mary, it'll say that it can exceed over 15% or more over time. So imagine Mr. and Mrs. Jones getting hooked in at 1.9%. Within 6 to 12 months, it jumps up to 5, 6%. And then it can go up as high as 15%. I don't know about you, Mr. and Mrs. Jones, but I'd much rather prefer a fixed interest rate on an unsecured loan where, again, I don't have all my personal possessions, my entire home on the line. Because with secure loans, right, if you don't pay the money that bank is owed, they can take it from you, right? So most of our customers prefer two things: a fixed interest rate on an unsecured signature loan. That way, if you lost your job or anything happens, they can't take your home and foreclose you and take all your possessions. I'm sure you'd appreciate that's a much more secure thing to do for you. So you sell them on that stuff. You educate them on the whole concept of what does it actually mean to have a loan through the bank, these secure loans, and why are they secured? One thing I did, Mets, which is really powerful, and I recommend everyone watching this do this as well, just go to your bank and ask them to give you a print off on an unsecured loan, what the interest rates are. And try to do like a 5-10 year loan, right? And see what the bank says. But if you can get any information, you'll see it's going to liken to that of a credit card, right? You're going to see 25, 30%, 29.99. So yeah, it's very easy to squash this stuff and influence people to take advantage of our rates and plans.
But you kind of touched on it here too, is I get a much better rate from my bank. And as you mentioned, you don't even know what the rate could possibly be.
Well, they'll never get interest free in an unsecured loan in a million years through their bank. So, you know, you always have the upper hand at the negotiating table with that objection.
That's right.
Yep.
This loan's too long. I don't want to have to pay for it for 10 years.
Yeah. I always chime into that. Actually, as I'm explaining the plans, I bring that to the forefront. I say, John and Mary, I'm going to show you some of our most popular options. And don't be concerned about the time limit, because with any of these monthly investment plans, you can pay it off as fast as you would like. There's no prepayment penalty in any of these plans. The most important thing, though, is think of the holiday season or any time of the year where you may be strapped for funds. The most important thing is that your monthly investment is completely comfortable, so we're not taking food off the table. So I lead into it as I'm showing the financial terms, bringing that to the forefront. And what is the average term that Greensky's customers pays off these loans? Wasn't it like 3 years, even on like a 10-year loan or something like that?
Yeah, it depends on the plan. but typically it's about half the time. So 8-year plan, 4 years, 6-year plan, 3 years, 10-year plan, 5 years.
Yeah, so if I have a 9.9 interest rate for 10 years, for example, if I pay that off in half the time, what's my actual interest that I'm paying on that? I mean, you save a ton of money.
That's right. That's right.
And that's how I persuade people to take advantage of those longer term loans too, is I educate them, with no prepayment penalty, Mr. and Mrs. Jones. Every dollar above that minimum monthly investment is going towards your principal balance. So it's going to save you boatloads of money in your interest rate throughout the term of that loan. And then if you're ever in a bind, it's nice to know you can always fall back and pay that minimum $150, $200 a month.
Well, the last portions I have here, and unless there's any more questions you have for me, Dominic, is what does the process look like whenever you first decide, hey, GreenSky is going to be right for me. I like what I'm hearing here. First thing you'll do is you'll submit a merchant application with us. And then once you get it'll take about 3 days to go through underwriting. That's whenever we just do simple check for background checks. Then what we'll do is you'll get a notification to enroll into your account, and you'll create your GreenSky account. From there, you're going to get assigned a client growth manager that's going to go through a full-blown discovery with you, pick out plans with you, and then schedule some training for the leadership team as well as all the sales team. And then what they're going to continue to do is train and provide insight and train and support and advocate.
And that's so valuable, right? Because I know there's still a lot of companies that operate where the sales rep just gets a paper application filled out, turns it into the finance manager, and the finance manager is the one that approves the financing. However, having your sales team armed to be able to process the financing in the house is not only going to increase closing and retention, but it gives them that opportunity to upsell right then and there. Because you want to strike when the iron's hot on this stuff. You don't want to be trying to upsell 2 or 3 days later, right? After you turn in the paperwork. So yeah, the fact that you offer that training right out of the gate, that alone is worth its weight in gold. So.
And having that dedicated client growth manager as your personal advocate for your company is huge. They're very passionate about your growth. They're very passionate about supporting you, and we have a lot of care for the home improvement contractors. So,
yeah, just ensuring success of the program. Yeah, because if you're new to this, you're gonna have a boatload of questions. And who do you go to for all those questions? It's nice to have somebody right there at your side, kind of like your wingman or wingmam, that is there. You can pick up the phone anytime. What do we do in this situation? How do we do this? How do we apply for this? Okay, let's forecast for the future. If and when we get to 3 million, 5 million, what does that look like? What is that going to provide to us over time? Make sure you have an overall smooth transition and you have a successful operation. Because financing is only as powerful as your ability to use it properly, right? And unless you have that coach.
Yeah, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Well, that's what I say. Unless you have that coach at your side, you're never going to be able to maximize all the benefits of the financing. So. Right.
And the majority of our team has done some sort of in-home selling or worked in the home improvement space prior to coming to GreenSky. So that's where the level of our passion for it comes from.
And I actually got one of the clients of yours recently said they got some sort of email to some special event where they get to like drive race cars or something like that. I don't know. But if you're like a VIP contractor or you've been loyal to GreenSky and this whole program, there's a lot of ways in which you recognize your customers and ways that you get everybody together to show appreciation. So I think that goes a long way too.
Yeah, we've done road shows in the past where we'll throw a really nice dinner, do kind of like pop-up shows where we'll have speakers, we'll give out awards, we'll give out prizes, and kind of we love to be in person and meet our contractors. We're going to see them in Milwaukee here soon, which would be great with Closures Camp. So really excited to participate in that. If anybody would like to go and start the application process and start working towards getting your enrollment and your account set up and get your dedicated growth manager, you can go to this website right here. This is greensky.com/sponsor/Grosso University. It's going to take you and prompt you directly to create an application, and that's whenever you'll be able to receive all these different benefits.
Again, we appreciate everyone's endurance. A lot of amazing information, Matt, so I appreciate everything you put together here. And if you want to get in contact with Metz personally, he's got his number right on the screen here and his personal email. And I do want to mention, we're not going to go through it now, but we have an exclusive rate sheet for our Grosso clients that you're going to have access to and some exclusive perks from GreenSky that they're offering just for our customers. So definitely take advantage of that. Mets is a wonderful conversation. I'm sure we could talk for hours about financing, but we'll save that for another time. And I appreciate it. And we'll leave it open the next 10 minutes here for some Q&A. If any contractors have any direct questions, Mets and I will be on live after this pre-recording to answer those questions. So we appreciate all your time, contractors. Take advantage of the offer. And as always at Gross University, yes, you are a closer.